Hey fam, Daniel here, and welcome back to Whole True Apologetics, where we seek answers to tough questions. Well, we've been dealing with this question these last few weeks. The question is, who is God? And the reason we're looking at this is because we need to build a right foundation, because how we understand who God is will determine and direct the rest of our lives. Therefore, if we have a wrong understanding of who God is, well, we're going to have a wrong foundation of which we built our lives. And so that's what we're looking at. We're looking at Scripture and seeing, hey, what are some attributes of God? How does it describe God in Scripture? And we've seen it says God is holy, God is faithful, God is eternal. And so today we want to look at one question people have about who God is. One question about who God is. And the question is, how can God be a God of wrath? How can God be a God of wrath? Or is God a God of wrath? And so when they read 1 John, they see 1 John says God is love, which is true. It says God is love. But then we look back through Scripture, we also see instances and specific situations where God judges or God's wrath is seen. And so when we see those instances and we see those situations, we wrestle and we're like, wait, how can God pour out his wrath or his judgment and yet also be a God of love? And so we have this conflict in our spirit of not knowing how those work hand in hand, how those work together. Because we often see love and wrath as opposite or opposing to each other. Well, what I'm going to argue today is that love and wrath are not opposite to each other, but in fact go hand in hand. And often wrath, when it's done right, comes from a place of love. From a place of love. But first, to deal with this, we have to deal with the definition of love. All right? Because when we read God is love, the problem we have is we're defining love in 2021 terms. All right? And what does it mean today? Often just it means open arms, hugging, accepting of everything, supporting of everything, of anybody's life and what they want to do. That's the understanding we have of love, or kind of the culture's understanding of love, which is not the biblical understanding of love, and honestly, it's not what love is. All right? And why do I say that? Let me just give you a couple examples. First, say you have a friend that's an alcoholic. Let me ask you, what is the loving thing to do for your friend that's alcoholic? Is it just to hug them, accept them, saying this is your life, this is who you are, and celebrate that's who they are? Or is it to call out something that is wrong in them and say, hey, we need to change this because this is destroying you? I would say it is the latter. It is what's destroying them, calling out what is destroying them. Let me give you another example. How we see love and wrath go hand in hand. Go hand in hand, are not opposed to each other. When you read on the news or you see anything where a horrible situation has happened, say for example, someone raped somebody else. When you read that and you see like this is what took place, we're filled with this anger or this wrath. Why? Because we know what was done was utterly disgusting and unjust. Now let me ask you, is that wrath opposite to your love? I would say it's not. Because you know what was done was not right. You know what was destructive, was disgusting, was degrading, was devaluing. And so that wrath that comes from us is actually coming from a place of love, or should be coming from a place of love. Now, if say the same person's on trial, all right? And the judge is like, you know what? I'm a loving judge. They'll let you go. How would people respond? Well, people should respond out of anger because we know what was done was utterly wrong. And now this judge who says he's a loving judge is not going to do anything about it. But we know the most loving thing the judge can do, it would be to judge him. Do you see what I mean? Love and wrath are not opposed to each other. And so we look through Scripture and we see that God has got a wrath in situations. That's coming from a place of love. Why? Because it's showing in those situations, God's saying evil does not win. God will judge what is evil. God will not let evil win. And if God did not judge what is evil, could we really say that he's a loving God? No, we couldn't. But the fact is, he does judge what is evil. And through Scripture, we see He judges what is evil. And that gives us hope because we know that is who God is, and He's a loving God, but His love and justice and wrath go hand in hand because He does not love evil, and in fact, He abhors evil and He judges evil. So why does that give me hope? It actually gives me hope. Why? Because when I see these things, different things happening throughout the world, they're utterly wicked, and I'm full of this frustration and anger. I'm also filled with hope because I know that God is not just a God of love, which He is, but a God of wrath. And He says that that will not win. Justice will happen. God will judge what is evil. The evil will not get away with it. That gives me hope. Because I know that God wins. I know the evil does not win. I know that whatever thing that maybe you've gone through, well, God will make it right, and evil does not win. So, does love and justice contradict each other? No. Does love and wrath, contradict each other? Absolutely not. They actually go hand in hand. And if God did not judge what is wicked, could we really say God is loving God? I would say we cannot. But God does judge what is wicked. And He judges what is wicked out of the love of who He is. And so we could trust Him and know that evil does not win. God wins. Well, hope that helps. And I'll see you guys next week. Hey family, if you like this video, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share this video onto anybody and everybody you know.